Hey everybody, we have the season 3 finale of The Affair all going down right here at AFTERBUZZ TV. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Finale party.
So sad.
Finale party. Finale party. Finale party.
I feel like a good robot dancer. Hey everybody, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight for the finale season 3.
Oh my goodness.
I believe we're 3 seasons in.
I can't believe it.
Where's
I feel like this is the fastest season that we've had.
This is definitely the fastest season that we've had, for
Yes.
sure. Absolutely. I feel like it's been.
Well, I don't think in the term of episode, but it felt like
It feels like the whole thing went. Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
absolutely.
It's just life and age.
Right. It is.
Oh gosh.
That's another conversation. That's another conversation.
Yeah. Before we get started, you can find us all at AfterBuzz TV. You can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant. Where can they find y'all?
Where you can find me at the Poet Saint all day, every day. Where can they find you?
You can find me only on Twitter and Instagram at the Alison Dean.
And I'm Nadine Della Pelle, in case people didn't know. And you can find me at Nadine DP and the number 3. And can we have this just going the whole time?
Yeah, the whole time.
I can just talk and
I won't be able
about.
to concentrate because I just want to groove.
Just want to dance.
groove.
So,
And what about you, April?
on Noah's version.
Where can they find you? Did you say it already?
Yeah,
Oh,
I went
I'm
first.
sorry. I just wanted to
we got even lights. Hey!
She wanted to like throw it back.
Yeah, I was
It's a
like,
party.
Wait, you have Snapchat? They can find you on Snapchat at the Alison Dean too.
Yeah, I have it there. I just I'm so bad.
You're just
I need April to like.
You're just a stalker. You don't
can
post
share all
anything.
No, I literally don't even go.
Yeah.
I think that the app is deleted from my phone right now.
Oh,
I
okay.
need to reinstall it.
Hilarious.
Well,
can
I
still
sent
follow
you your
it.
chat tonight, so there you go.
There you go.
There I go.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Shabam.
this finale to me was refreshing. It felt a lot
Like 7-Up?
lighter. Yeah, a little fizzy.
Like
It felt a lot
champs.
lighter than the last. Yes, more like champs. Than the past few episodes. What did y'all think?
It didn't
like it. I can
do
tell
it
you
for
didn't
me.
like it.
It didn't do it for me. I think that I really wanted them to fill the holes of everything that happened to Noah to make him suddenly. I mean, I know he referenced the fact that Juliet was a part of his healing, but I think I needed a little bit more of what that encompassed because the last time we saw him, he's on the ground of his really crappy sublet apartment and not knowing what the hell was going on. So for them to sort of make this turn, and perhaps they'll revisit this in season 4. Who knows? They always kind of keep us guessing. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't leave me with the feeling that I wanted to be left with for The Affair season 3 finale.
Yeah, I think for me it was not that it was an easy cop out.
No, right.
It was. I think that I'm not saying you say. I kind of think it was, but I'm not gonna say that. Is kind of what I'm saying. It's that they needed to tie the ends of Juliet. They had to do something to close that because they hadn't gone back to it. So why introduce something if you're never gonna end that story? But I think that they could have ended it just on Noah's part and then gone maybe back to Alison or and finished it in that way. But it's also like, okay, what else are we gonna do? We figured out last episode that Noah stabbed himself. So, the whole everything that happened in prison, all that's just kind of done now. It's just Noah has this crazy mental state that he needs to kind of get rid of, and this is the only way to progress it. So
It almost felt like when they filmed this season, it's almost as though they didn't know if they were going to get a season 4, and this is how they punctuated it. Because if we think about this, and we talked about that last week.
Oh, I disagree.
I don't know.
Yeah,
just because, think about it. If they had left us today with what it was, think about all the bows that we have. We have Cole and Alison getting along. We have Helen waving at Noah and him waving back. And we have just him not knowing where he's going to go home at the end of the episode. But, that's it.
and the kids wanting to be with him and hang out on Christmas Day.
There's so many little bows that we got tonight, even if they weren't necessarily all so satisfying. It still could have been okay.
It's a theory. It's a theory.
I don't know.
Okay, so for me, I think that this episode was a great episode 9. I think this was a great episode leading to the finale. And so I don't know if, again, it could have been a situation. I disagree just with the fact I still think there were some things hanging. I do agree with the fact, yes, if you did end on this, it could have been a decent ending.
Right.
I don't think it would have been the ending people would have wanted.
No,
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you see what I'm
yes,
saying?
I'm with you on that.
Especially leading up how great and fascinating season 1 and season 2 was. So on that note, that's where I'm like, but I don't like this as a finale just because I feel like this started with Noah and Alison, right?
Right.
And granted, yes, there's different, things how they wanted with season. They did different variations. They have Helen, they have Cole's portion, and then now we see where we have a new character and we have her. But for a finale, no. Absolutely not. I think they should have done more. They could have went back to Alison and Cole because I think there was still some unresolved issues there that could have been dealt with. And it just, to me, it just didn't feel like a finale.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I go like half and half on it because I think that you kind of took the words out of my brain in the sense of like the cop out. I mean, not a cop out, but I can't think of a better term for it right now. But in the sense of
Twitter's gonna blast us.
Oh, I know they're gonna hate us. But just let me explain first, and then tell me if you hate it.
I love it.
What I think is that okay, so we have zero resolution to the Gunther stuff. But maybe people feel like we got resolution in the episode before, wherever it was like when he was actually there. Okay, you realize that Noah was definitely, having side effects from this medicine and was, in a maddened state.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, but did the stuff during prison happen? Did that lead him to this? What happened? And when he realized, I stabbed myself. I mean, that's a gap, it's a few months, whatever. But do we necessarily need to know those details? I don't know. That's why I'm like iffy on it. I wish we knew more about what happened. Like, was the stuff that happened in prison true? I'm sure that it was to an extent, but now I feel like we'll never know because why would they in season 4 go back to that?
Yeah, well,
they're good about ping-ponging.
Yeah. But with Juliet, I think the reason why we would be less than satisfied, there are a lot of things that happened in Noah's part that I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. Da, da, da. Right. But I think that like Juliet being such a huge part of this episode, obviously part 1 totally Juliet, I was just kind of like, to me, she didn't play as big of a part. I would have rather, to be honest, forget Juliet, Oscar. Let's do one with Oscar. Yeah,
and some of the things, because he was kind of interwoven with this season and some of the things that he's dealt with. I'm not saying that they should have. I'm just saying if you're going to pick one or the other, Oscar would have been a better, one to spin off, or even Cole's wife, and doing a situation with her. Yeah. Yes. But to do it with Juliet when she, to me, wasn't a principal character, the only reason I could have seen them doing it on a writing standpoint is because to bring the resolution between him and Whitney, which is what it did. And it's all this happening in Paris, and with the death of, her husband, Etienne, and all these things going on, and then kind of epiphany in him, because ultimately I could have seen, like, if it was the old Noah, he would have like, forget my daughter, I'm going to be with you, because that's what he does, right? But it was like, no, I got to be there for my daughter. I'm sorry. And she's like, well, I have to be there for my daughter. And it was like, that was something that they both needed, some type of resolution. So I could see like, oh, okay, that helps for that. Yeah. But to me, she wasn't a big part other than wrecking her car and him finding her when he was, to me, it just didn't make sense to make her such a big, not only a big factor in this episode, but for the finale.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because the reason why they didn't do Oscar, the reason why they didn't do Cole's wife is because they're going to continue on into next season. They're going to keep being there. Juliet isn't going to, I do not believe we're going to see her. I think at the end when she's like, my daughter needs me and your daughter needs you, basically, that just ended it, cut the ties. Noah's now in a good headspace. Now he's content with Whitney, and like what you're saying, it did make resolution, but not just with him and Whitney. It showed us as viewers of where next season is going, with Noah being who we know Noah to be. This crazy Noah in season 3 is no longer going to be there. Noah's content. Noah's going to be him and his family are going to reconcile. And that's all we needed to see. We saw everything we needed to see last episode. Honestly, like, I'm okay with not seeing anything with the jail anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to see that. I don't care anymore. It was all stuff in his head. He went through hell. I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of on to the next thing. And I think what this episode did was it just kind of ended everything. It was just like, okay, next episode we're starting fresh with what's going to happen now.
So I have a theory about Juliet being in this season, period. I think, knowing what we found out from tonight, that they put her in this season to kind of show us another version of Noah's story, we learned tonight that Etienne, Juliet's husband, had been cheating on her for years. And she called it, I wrote it in my notes, I'll find it eventually, but he basically thought monogamy was like not a real thing. So she knew that he had affairs for years, but she just went along with it. And she had her daughter and she had a happy life and yada, yada, yada. And the whole time, you know, she thought she was trapped. But later in the episode in Noah's version, she said that she realized he was the one that was trapped. I think they showed us this to show us a different version of it. Like this person, you know, we know that Noah felt trapped for a really long time. He felt that, oh, I'm here for my kids and maybe I'm not unhappy with this person, but obviously he wasn't completely happy with Helen.
So
and
like
that was
a female,
big thing.
like a female version of Noah.
I think they did it to show us because think about it. We've seen this beat down, literally like having side effects from drugs Noah the entire season. And tonight we saw this, you know, very reflective, giving good advice, literally breath of fresh air version of Noah. And I think that's kind of why they did that, is to show us like there are multiple facets. Noah and Alison's relationship came from a very specific place to us initially because it seemed a very sexual, or I mean that's what it was, obviously.
Oh, definitely.
But then you think about, so did Noah and Juliet's, and I kind of think that that's the whole purpose of putting her in there, is to show like Noah and Alison's, their whole thing came off very wrong at first, but Juliet's didn't, because we're like, oh, her husband's going through this, you know, we kind of feel for her, but then we learn like, oh, it's been happening for a really long time, not necessarily in her part. I think they kind of showed or put her in there to show us maybe he's not as evil as, or not even that, but just to show us another version and to be like, there are many facets to like a reason why this can
many
happen.
Type of affairs, kind of, in a sense. Like these are all various affairs that happen.
But to me, it just felt so abrupt. I mean, we have Noah being crazy the entire season, and we're trying to find out why he's crazy and why he's doing the things that he does. We have the Gunther situation. We have him with Helen. We have all of these things, and then the very last episode, he's like, oh, peace and blessings. And
but it was all resolved, though. It was, he talked to Gunther at Gunther's house. We saw who stabbed him. All that's done.
He realized what
he stabbed himself. He realized
he didn't know that he was hallucinating. He didn't know that, or he seemingly to us did not know that. I really wish my internet was working right now, because someone in last week's YouTube comments said the best thing, and they were like, you know, we've been seeing, because we all were talking about last week how confused we were and how like, you know, things were so random, but then it's like the narrative, Noah's part, is coming from a person who is literally
going out of his mind.
Right. So of course we're confused. Of course it's like all over the place. And that's why I think that the second that he realized, when he sees Gunther in the window, but then he like realizes that it's him that's stabbing himself in the neck, I think that was it. When he walked in and saw that sink still running, that was it. And that's what just kind of made him click, like, oh my gosh, because think about how normal of a guy Noah used to be. Think about season 1. Obviously he's having this major affair during it, but he was a relatively like sane, normal.
Well, I think he was a depressed guy. He wasn't normal. He was going through stuff that led up to this type of crap, and now maybe he's getting back to what normal is.
But they could have buttoned it up somehow, just a little better. Like they could have just made the transition better. And I think in the sense of all the Juliet stuff, I mean, I was reading stuff before season 3 aired about how they were introducing this new character's POV and how she was going to have this like significant effect on Noah.
And
so it's interesting though, because I mean, yes and no. It's like we didn't see enough of that though, in my opinion. In the sense of like, how many times did we get Juliet's POV? Twice? Was it tonight and one other?
Twice.
So like in that respect, and I mean I get that, you know, we've seen her a few times. Oh, thank you. I get that we've seen it a few times. Like we're seeing her a few times throughout the season, and she's had sort of a presence. At the same time, to make a statement like she really has this like huge effect, I needed to see more of that, because honestly for me their chemistry was much different than that of Noah and Alison, right? So like in the sense
Noah
of
and Juliet.
Noah and Juliet's chemistry for me, it didn't like light my fire. It didn't. I don't even think they really had true
I think
chemistry.
why it's called the affair, because there's so many affairs in life, and there's so many. You have one love with one person that's different from another love with another person, or another affair. If even not love, it's infatuation. So I think it's just showing all these things.
I don't know. I didn't feel infatuated.
I didn't either. I just felt a common
Common ground.
Common ground.
Yeah, they have that.
We only
similar
saw that.
intelligence.
Yeah, this
For sure.
episode. Sure.
Yeah. But then they did give us that little tidbit. I don't know how happy y'all were about it, but I was extremely happy about it. Now, this is in Noah's portion whenever he walks into the bookstore and sees Peter Pan, and he has that flashback of he and Alison
We got one glimmer.
We got a little glimmer.
I heard your reaction. You're like, oh.
For me, that little glimmer was a lot.
April really liked it.
Yes, and
very
all
much
of
so.
this stuff, even in Paris, even like him going through, it's been months since he realized, oh dang, I may be addicted to prescription painkillers.
Right.
He's still like that comes. So it gives me a glimmer of hope for like how that next season could get back to more of like a streamlined. Not that I'm looking for streamlined. I'm not looking for it to be a typical show. That's part of why I love The Affair, because it's not.
Right.
But maybe this season, to me anyway, was a little too all over. A little too many characters.
What about like where all of his
big
money
things.
came from? Like, how are you in Paris? Like, just like at a hotel? Like,
Maybe
he was
got another advance.
Wasn't
Maybe
he
got
in a
another
crappy apartment
yeah,
at
that's
the
what I mean. So
university?
it was like, and he had like no money or like what?
And
like,
he has
what?
money to buy tickets,
Maybe
like
he
last
sold
minute
the
on
house.
Christmas
Well,
Eve.
maybe he sold his dad's house.
But these are all things where I'm
Maybe
just
he
like,
got an advance. There are multiple things.
But we don't.
that could have
And we don't
happened.
know. We don't know. It again. It
I mean,
just
I'm
seems,
happy that he can just be like,
It
Maybe he
seems
robbed
like
a
there
bank.
was a missing
Maybe
portion.
he-
Like we
credit
didn't
card debt, whatever.
Like we didn't
Exactly.
see an episode. Like it was almost like an episode was missing. That's why I said this is a great 9th episode or something like that.
Yeah, so we need
or maybe an episode prior to this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it just to me it was still. I know. I mean,
Yeah.
Nadine is like, it was great.
Because in the beginning I was like, nah, I don't know, it's a cop out. Now I'm like, I'm really satisfied. I'm good.
And two, I think because this particular, like you were saying, and I know where you were going with, season 1 and season 2 was very purposeful. We knew exactly what they were trying to tell us, but it also kept us in suspense because we're waiting for this information. We're waiting for certain things to happen, and then they happen, and sometimes they happen right when we want them to. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they happen differently, but it's all the magic of the show, right? Happen in season 1, then happen again in season 2. With this season, I'm naming the hallucination season. We're sitting up there, we're like, okay, what's going on? Is he dreaming? What is Alice? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so convoluted, and I was like, and that's why I was like, wait, the season finale is tomorrow? Like, I'm thinking like, no, we need like
There's
3
so
more
many more
episodes.
things,
There's
yeah.
so many more
Do you wish
things.
you had more suspense? Is that what kind of is missing for you? Do you want like more of a cliffhanger? Because right now we really don't have any cliffhanger.
Well, and we've been left with cliffhangers both seasons, but that's like us being spoiled as viewers. We're so used to what's going to happen. It doesn't necessarily always have to be that way.
It doesn't always have to be that way, but I do think that if you start on a trend, at some point in time, if you don't continue with that, sometimes the viewers may be disappointed because they're like, wait, this is what I want from this show.
I feel like you have become me and I have become you. You're like, I want this. I'm like, I don't know.
so cute.
I'm good. Really?
Disappointed.
Okay, let's talk about Juliet's part.
Okay.
Let's do.
In particular. So they wake up together in bed in Paris. So this is when we know, okay, it's probably been a little bit of time.
he's not wearing a bandage.
He's not wearing a bandage. They do show
He
a
has
It looks
scar.
like it's healing. Yeah, right.
But they're, like literally like playing around happy in bed together.
Playing
We
around.
haven't, well, I mean, you're trying to get PG here.
Playing around,
But
yeah.
we haven't seen Noah happy all season long. Like,
Yeah.
I can't
Valid.
think
No,
of one
that's true.
time that we've seen him like legitimately
I mean,
laugh.
maybe with his son, like when like he felt that rekindling with Martin, you know.
Yeah.
I think Noah's a very sexual human being too,
True,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
very just that's his happy place in a sense, like
Happy
happy.
place is in the
No,
bed.
not like you know what I
Not
mean.
a
but,
bad
like,
happy way.
if he is intimate in a sense that really I don't know it works well for him, that's when he's happy and that's when you see the most. He craves that, I guess.
Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But so they're having this jovial moment, we'll say.
They're romping.
And she
Good
gets
weather for
into
romping.
talking about how she has to leave. We know she has to leave because she's got to go speak to the person at the university because she's essentially been faking to everyone that her husband is healthy. Later in her part, we find out, or when she does finally like meet with the person, we find out that she literally has been faking being him and has been sending like emails this whole time. Of course, they're not happy. But before that, we see her, she and Noah are like walking through the streets and they see these two women. And
Colleagues
in
of
her
hers.
version, they have a conversation where we see the subtitles.
Right.
So we understand. Later in Noah's version, the subtitles aren't shown, which I felt actually I kind of liked because I'm like,
loved it.
I like showing that he has no idea what they're saying.
Right.
Yeah, they did that
because in her part it did seem maybe he understood.
Like this is
bit.
actually his POV.
Well, no, because it was her POV, then intentionally she does understand. So
that's why his POV we don't.
we need to understand.
Right.
Yes. But she says, or one of the women say, oh, so we've heard about your American man, or whatever they said.
I was like, 3 months, man. Word gets around the world.
Well,
fast.
it's been a few months since he went crazy.
Paris is small.
It's been a few months since he went crazy, but it's probably been a long time since they first met, technically.
And started dating.
Yeah, but she didn't even like that woman. Then why would she? Yeah.
Well, the woman brought it up, and she said everyone's been talking about this, but
People talk.
she seemed like put off by it. But the woman does say, she's like, oh, I'm actually happy for you.
Right.
I mean, in so many words, you put up with a lot for a lot of years.
In one version,
Yeah,
though.
that was our first glimmer
You know
of
what
that
I mean?
too. You know what I mean?
We don't know what version that kind of was because, like, in her version, Noah wouldn't leave her alone, regardless if people were there. He kept wanting to kiss her. And in his version, she all wanted to kiss him, of course. And
I mean, like what the women were saying. The women were saying that Etienne, she's like, oh, well, I'm glad for you because he's been doing this for this many years, so good. Either way, they knew about her American man.
Yeah.
Right. And that supports the claim that she said to him later about basically what she had to put up with and how, she said, I'm better, or he's better than you, and he's like, well, what are you talking about? And then she explains how he had all these affairs and she just put up with it and she was with her daughter, what have you.
But at least he was up front.
Exactly.
Yeah, is what she was meaning. I'm like, you're up front. Does that necessarily make it okay that you're doing this? No. But she accepted it, so whatever.
Right.
That's totally her thing. But a great part of tonight's episode was her going home. Or so obviously they're in Paris and she goes to their apartment and he's lucid. And I immediately was like, it's the surge.
You said it.
But I knew it because of very sad episodes of Grey's Anatomy. But I'm like, it's like a thing. It literally, but it's like a.
But it's a medical thing.
Terminal lucidity
thing.
is what it's called.
Yes.
It is.
Whenever someone like comes back, they just become like their self again. A lot of times
they regain consciousness.
Before they die, because it's like a surge of endorphins or a surge of what I don't know what it is.
The final
exactly.
gift.
Yes,
it's the final gift.
They said that, and they have this lovely conversation where he's talking about, oh, I'm gonna go to Livingston University, which is where she's been for however long, to talk about this manuscript that they may have found. And it's so sad because it's literally like, oh, you're talking about the thing that she's been doing and you don't even know that this has been done. I mean, like dementia, Alzheimer's is.
But then he also started talking about Brigitte. And I was like,
that was off. Well, but
and now we've noticed that he's not quite himself.
Yeah, but even before that, when he's talking to his daughter, Sabine is there, and he's like, I forget what he said.
He thought that she
was, oh my love.
Yeah, right.
And
that
she's
was
like,
his wife. Yeah.
He tells her, he's like, oh, Sabine can come with us or something like that, and she's like, no,
I'm Sabine.
So and then you realize that it's not what they thought.
Right.
But then can you imagine? I think Brigitte is his ex-wife. They referenced that earlier in the season, but I can't remember exactly, so tell me if I'm wrong.
Some type of lover.
Well, she said that he would bring up, sometimes she thinks that a previous wife. She'll say that he will think she's a previous wife.
So we'll just say
Juliet.
that that's who it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But he says, I can't live without you. I can't, whatever. And she's like, me either.
Knife to the heart.
And I can't even.
It was hard to watch all of that.
It was. I can't imagine going through like your husband of however many years.
It's a horrible disease that you get, you know?
Yeah.
This felt more like a series finale than a season finale, which is scary. Yeah, see, I'm with you.
This felt more
kind
like
of.
a series
It could have been.
Kind of.
I want the show to go on.
It did. But it is going on, and that's the good thing.
And Conviction Addiction.
I'm happy that it's going on. Let's be real.
Conviction Addiction said this episode felt like a postscript or an epilogue of a novel.
Yeah.
Well, wow.
So that's funny that they said that because someone in last week's comments, it's working now, so I'll see if I can pull it up, but said that this felt like it was like the story of Noah's novel, like his next one. And they were like, Noah always wanted to go to Paris to write his book. He said that so many times. But maybe he's writing this book now, but maybe this season was kind of like a story of.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting theory either way.
Yes.
Possibly.
It is. It is an interesting theory. I do like the fact of, and I think we can agree on that. I agree that it sounded like it was a series finale.
Yeah.
Because it did not seem like a season finale. But
yes.
the way that it was wrapped, it looked like, oh, the show's over.
See, and I get where you're coming from because I'm satisfied now. Even though in the
Right.
beginning I said it was a cop-out, but now as we talk, I'm satisfied. And I think because if it was a series finale, I'm okay.
You'd be good.
Letting the show go.
That's
but
what
I
I'm
get what
saying.
you're saying is
Right.
that it's not.
Right.
So give me something.
Exactly.
Give me something more till next
Give
year.
me
Because
something to
it's
keep me
January,
ready.
guys.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do?
It's not like the show had bad ratings. The show has amazing ratings. So why would they have ever thought that they wouldn't be picked up for a 4th season?
Hollywood,
just
babe.
never know.
Hollywood.
You
Maybe
never
it's
know.
maybe it's
You never
Showtime. I don't
know.
know. Like we don't know the world of Showtime.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess. True.
I'll get a job there soon, guys. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Just for this show.
So she ends up going to meet Noah at this little, or for dinner at this little shop, and he gives her a book. It's like some 1868 version of a book, obviously a very thoughtful gift. And she gets a call while she's there, and that's when we find out that her husband has died.
Right.
And she goes back to their apartment. She experiences this moment with Sabine where she's like, I know about your American man, because Juliet asked to be alone with her husband. And she's like, you could have been here with him this entire time. And this is where it kind of relates back to the Noah story, is because his kids are so like, you should have been here, you this and this and this. But he wasn't there because he was off doing whatever else he was doing. There are just certain like similarities that now make me be like,
There's
oh,
the
this
common
is why
ground.
you did this to us this season.
Common ground.
The thing I didn't like though was that it's so unrealistic that this one random professor's love life is so publicly known at the university that the kids are talking about it, that all the colleagues are talking about it, that it's like this like worldwide news basically.
Yeah.
I was like, no one really cares, Juliet, about your sex life and your love life. Let's be real. It's just for this show. Like,
There are those like famous
Come on.
professors. Like I graduated from Auburn. There were professors I never had, but I knew who they were.
you knew their love life and their sex
I
life.
did not know their love life or
See?
their sex life, but you know,
You knew what they were good
Auburn,
at for
Alabama
school and
isn't the
teaching.
most
Like,
scandalous
come on.
town, so
But maybe
I don't
like
know.
France is like the love city. Like,
It is. Yes, yes, yes.
amor.
Yes.
But and her
Yes.
daughter's
Je
there,
donne
so
amor. I don't even
her
know
daughter's
that.
there, so anything like going on, they'll probably hear about. I mean, it's TV.
But
Yeah.
it was the people in Paris that knew what was going on, not the people in America where she was
No,
teaching.
but her
Right.
daughter's university is what I'm saying.
At our
She's
daughter's
like,
university.
everyone
Yeah.
at the university is talking
It's
about
talking about it, and it's like, why? It's like the only people that saw you were those two colleagues on the street, and then they just went on social media and just tweeted
Well,
about
clearly
it.
people must have known about
Did
it
a
before.
trending
Well,
hashtag.
I don't think that was the entry point. I think what she did say when it was her version, she said that these people, they talk. That's why she didn't want to kiss him, because she said Paris is a very small city.
Yeah.
And so I took that to believe that's how that her daughter's school could know, because of the whole situation
Yeah.
with what was going on while they were together. Not just while they were there, not the two ladies that saw
Okay.
them, but just the 3 months or so that they were talking and dating or whatever,
Yeah.
that somehow it got back. And I could understand
That was in America though, but no one was there
Right.
that knows her, so I have no idea unless she said. You know what I mean? It just, for me, I love, like, I know it's TV and I know
Gossip
it's all
spreads
Hollywood,
like wildfire.
but none
It
of
does.
that. I can't
Especially in
relate to any
Paris.
of that. It's
Especially
like.
in Paris.
Especially in Paris.
Like, you're in Jersey. Like, how's that gonna get to Paris? What you're doing in Jersey in a random apartment? Like, come on.
Well, apparently it did.
Just over the ocean there, Nadine.
Yeah, I
Just
guess
over
so.
the ocean.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Social media
super
makes the
quick.
world very small.
This has no like meaning to tonight's episode, but it was really, really tough when they were taking his body out through the elevator.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
And it's like they can't get
not
it down.
okay.
I'm like, just take it down the stairs.
Right.
Oh, please don't do this.
Do you guys? I'm curious. I'm glad you brought that up. Did you all think that had some significance to
Yes.
to the situation?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes,
I did not.
because I've been there. I've been through that situation, watching like a body or two
Okay.
like go. In that sense, someone I loved. If I saw them do that to someone that I loved that had just passed away, and then
Flip
lift
out.
them upside down, exactly. I would cause wreck. I'd cause havoc. I'd be swearing. I
Yeah.
would be not this classy Nadine you guys
Yeah,
see here.
yeah.
I would freak out. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" She just stood there and was like, not saying a word or anything, then went inside and shut the door. It just showed that, like, was she not that she was excited that he passed away, but
I think she
just
was resolved
relieved.
in it.
She was just like, this happened, he's
Yeah.
done, I'm moving on, like, I don't care, he's not here anymore, this is like the aftermath of it,
Right.
like, his body's not him, in a sense, you know?
Well, she clearly, she obviously said later,
She harbors anger.
I prayed
Right.
for him
She
to
prayed
die.
for him to die.
And so that all makes sense now. That's why they showed that.
And also, what was it, right? Okay, at what point when Noah came over, which was very predictable, and he's, knocking at the door, that was after the body was still there.
No, the body was gone at
The
this
body
Yeah,
was
at that
gone.
point,
It was
yeah.
just
Body
her
was
daughter
gone.
inside.
Yeah.
So, okay, because I can understand what
mean?
you're saying. I think that she did have some resolve, and almost not she was glad for it, but it was almost a sense of relief.
Just,
Because of everything. It's like if you're in.
Well, what is she gonna do? Like.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
I think,
fine.
like Nadine was saying, if it was somebody you truly love and something like that is happening, you're gonna flip.
Oh no, you're
I
right.
think
She
anybody.
was resolved in
And
it for
she
sure.
didn't,
Exactly.
and so that just shows that she was content at the fact of him passing. It was almost like he had passed on in her mind.
a long time ago.
She had
Right.
a lot of time to prepare for this.
That's what a lot of
Exactly.
people say whenever someone does have dementia or Alzheimer's, because
Right.
Or any
you can
terminal illness.
You can recognize how awful this and horrifying it's got to be for a person. So, I mean, whether I think she prayed for him to die for other reasons for a long time, or just
Exactly.
like wanted to be, but also like in the situation. Whatever. But then, of course, Noah shows up at the door, and we're all like, please don't let it be Noah. Please don't let it be
We
Noah.
all knew
And
it.
of
We
course
all knew
it's
it.
Noah. And then they do it in the hallway. Because she's all,
You know what I
let's do it
wrote
in the
down? I was
hallway.
like, death turns you on? Question mark, question mark. I was like, what?
I think
definitely
again,
turned Juliet
really,
on.
it was like sort of like it's like she was cleansed. I think that's what it was. It was sort of like this big. I mean, the thing about it is, as much as she certainly held him to be a love of her life, I think on another level too, it was like a chapter that she wanted to close, and it was this lingering thing that couldn't be closed, right?
Yeah.
So like, him being alive, she couldn't close that chapter, even though it's like, in a lot of ways, the chapter had closed a while back.
Right.
I think we should mention what conviction addiction said, because it kind of is in line with what we
Yeah.
were all saying. The show always breaks formula, so I like that. It didn't necessarily conform to the traditional need to have a cliffhanger to end the season.
I like that too.
I like
It
your
really
conviction
does.
addiction.
I still wanted one though, but yeah, I think.
I mean, everyone loves a good cliffhanger. Sure, obviously, I definitely do. But
Lem does.
I appreciate that they're like,
I appreciate
okay.
that they did a series finale.
But no. I appreciate it in this situation because this season has been a little here, a little here, a little here, a little
Yeah.
here, a little here.
For the show.
And what have I said the entire season? It feels
What?
like two different shows. It feels like the Alison and Cole show, the Noah, Helen, I guess Juliet show. So it's gotta mold into one. It can't be like two separate things.
And
Shows aren't
it didn't
successful
mold
when they
into
do
one,
that.
though. It didn't mold. It closed out.
But I'm
it
saying,
closed out Noah's
I
version.
think that's why they did that, because they're like, okay, we're literally kind of clean slating it, and let's see where it goes. Because not to say, I think The Affair is very successful. I freaking love this show, obviously, but it's like a proven thing when shows go, okay, now we're gonna break off into this version and this version. They don't work that way. It's just like a proven thing. Eventually, they go kaput. So I think they were kind of like, maybe, okay, let's teach these lessons. Let's give you some background. Let's give an antithesis of like why this happened, and then let's see where it goes.
I think it's
let's
like
teach these lessons.
It's like a non-traditional cliffhanger, because in a
Yeah.
way it's sort of like, what's gonna happen in season 4? I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, look at us talking about it.
It's a
We're like,
cliffhanger.
what?
Well,
No.
I hope something happens in season 4 because they're doing it in season 4. So
Yeah.
I'll be,
Something's
we're
gonna happen
talk
in
about-
season 4, Lab. For sure, we're gonna get something.
I will say, out of everything, I really did appreciate the fact that Noah made up with Whitney, because
Yes.
to me,
Yeah.
in all the seasons, I mean, she hated him from day one, from the time the affair started. She's the oldest in the family. She's kind of probably dealt with the most as a child. She's also
Seen a lot, yeah.
Exactly. She's also a woman, so she feels the empathy from her mother. So
She wasn't at that table at the grandparents' house
Right.
a few months back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really do like.
Right? Does
I
she
really
know
do
about
like.
that?
Probably
I don't
my
know.
favorite.
We don't know.
My favorite part of this entire season was when she smiled at Noah. Like when she's there in the bed.
She's a great
And
actress.
she is. She was there in the bed,
killed it.
and it was like he was, he's like, I got one more thing, and he tells her, and just, and she's there in the bed, and she smiles. that was like, oh, that was amazing.
You're right, Dad.
It was huge.
I get
because that was something that was a strange relationship for 3 seasons.
You know, she's a character on the show that could have her own spin-off.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me. Like, I get why they don't put more attention on her because
Another version they could have had. Just saying.
I know
Whitney.
I know that it's not the show, but I
Right.
feel like her character is strong enough to support, like, I don't know, they could create a
show.
whole
You don't know.
world.
Maybe they will, though.
Showtime.
You know, maybe they will. I mean, who's upset? Raise a hands that Furcat's gone.
Not me.
Kinda.
You
Just
are?
kidding. No.
We don't know that he's gone, though. I mean, clearly.
but that ended it. I mean, okay. So how about this? Another question: who thought Noah should have gone back in and show Furcat?
I thought he was.
I did, and then I
thought
didn't.
I thought he was, but
Who's disappointed?
but
disappointed?
I will say I am
I'm
disappointed.
kind of happy he did not. I was like, oh,
okay,
Jesus.
I'm torn because as in regular Noah fashion, this is the new Noah, right? That we ended with. But in regular Noah or the old Noah, he would have gone and whoop his tail, right? He would have done that. But the fact that he restrained himself,
per the request of his daughter.
right?
Don't go down. He finally listened.
And he listened.
He listened.
Which again, as I was stating earlier, how if it was old Noah, he would have been like, "No, I'm still smashing Juliet. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to deal with that yourself."
Exactly.
But he was like, "Nope, I'm gonna put this on brakes, you know, and I'm gonna deal with my daughter because she needs me." So that being said, I do appreciate it, but at the same time, I still wish she would have whooped Furcat because Furcat is terrible. Just saying.
Because I agree with that
He's
too.
terrible.
That be a good. You change, Noah. You do
Yeah,
you, man. Like
exactly.
you get better. I love it.
Yeah.
But if you see a man hit your daughter
Come
in the
on, man.
face, I
That's
don't
like-
care any progress you made. You go
That
back to
warrants
ground
it.
zero and punch him.
That was warrants.
I'm like half and half on
It's
it.
hard.
Oh, come
yeah,
on.
I mean, here's the thing. When your daughter, who you're on terrible terms with, I mean, your daughter has not been speaking. If she is adamantly saying, do not go in there.
But she's your daughter.
I know, but at the same
But
time,
what would have happened? She would have been gone. She would have already ran down the
and
street.
he cared more about his daughter at that
Valid.
point and sort of
Which is
rebuilding
why
all
I
that.
allowed it.
Yeah.
Which is why I
Right.
told the writers it's okay.
He saw his
That you do
daughter
that.
take it off, and
But
he was like,
could have gotten a little sucker and then run down the
Trust
street.
me,
Come
I
on.
wanted
his chin
it
or
little.
something.
I wanted one punch, but I also was like, okay, what if he had? You see her already running down the street. She would have been gone.
Right.
Like
She would've been
he would
gone.
have never
And he would have resented. She would have resented him
Right.
more if he would have done that.
because then she'd be like, oh, Furcat left me because of this.
Exactly.
It has to happen in a natural way. But
I was also surprised at how fast Furcat got back into the gallery because I was like,
Into a
the way-
conversation.
the way
already
that
like
they
this.
cut that-
I'm not a-
The way that they cut that scene, it seemed like Noah was right there, like
Right.
right after it happened,
Right.
about to like lay one on him, and I was
Yeah.
like, he's already indoors.
But
What?
did anyone see Furcat's face though? They showed a reaction shot on Furcat, and Furcat looked at Noah like,
Like, yeah,
"Are you gonna come
what do
in
you
here?
want? I
Are
know.
you gonna do something?" And
because
as
they
if-
have already fought.
Yeah,
so.
as if Furcat was like
Right.
ready for it, and maybe Noah was like, "Oh man, you're kind of bigger than me. I'm gonna run away." I don't know what I took.
No.
out of it.
I don't think that.
I don't take that.
But
Good, you guys defend him.
He's like, if only Gunther was here to punch him, right?
Stab him in the neck.
I think this is part of why I liked tonight's episode so much, because a big thing since season 1 has been Noah's relationship with his kids. And that's probably the worst thing about The Affair is the rift that it causes between you and your kids,
Right.
especially the ones that are old enough to know
What's
exactly
going on.
what's going
Right.
on. And Whitney
Right.
has been old enough the entire time, obviously. But the conversation that they had walking like by the little canal or whatever, where he's like, "Oh, I didn't do my job. You're defending this man that just hit you. I didn't do my job protecting you from
People like
men
me."
Like me.
I know, I was like,
and I was just like,
loved
oh,
that.
yeah.
you have learned
I love
something
because he was about to
finally.
say something else. He was gonna
Right.
say about these men, and then he stopped and he goes,
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a great
"For
scene.
Noah, guys,
That was a great
that
scene.
was
That was
huge."
It just seems
That
like
was a great
he's
scene.
learned a little bit. Even I'm not
Just
Bring him
a
a little-
smidge.
Good
Yes,
job, buddy.
I'm
Good
not.
job.
I'm not saying Noah has grown leaps and bounds or anything, but I'm saying this is a big step. The fact that he was actually able to make Whitney listen to him
Yeah.
without
sure.
being
Yeah.
argumentative.
Huge.
The fact that he was like, it just had like a deep and meaningful conversation with her without pissing one another off, literally, because that's all they've ever done before is like someone gets mad because
Jab,
she
jab,
says
jab,
this,
jab.
and
Yeah.
she was jabbing him
Yeah.
for sure, and he didn't take the bait, and so it's kind of like a growth with him, and I don't know, Whitney killed it in tonight's episode. Just overall.
She really did.
But
Yeah, and I think the thing is too, it's like, you know how people say, oh, well, that girl has daddy issues, or like, oh, I have daddy issues. I think that this girl actually really did. If you look at Scotty, the only men we've been introduced to of men that have been in her life are Scotty and Furcat.
Who are older.
Who are older,
Especially
who do not
Furcat.
treat her right, who abuse her in a sense, either emotionally or physically.
Yeah.
And it's not until Noah kind of recognizes that he's the daddy and these daddy issues. You know what I'm trying to be cool with the millennials, but like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I know. I was like every man she's been with has been messed up, and that's what I wrote down because it's true. And I think from now on, maybe we're gonna be introduced to a character in her life that actually helps her out for the better and not brings her down like every other man has in her life.
Okay, so okay, this is my thing. Okay, I'm just curious, and maybe this is premature because we haven't. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna do predictions with the situation because it is a season finale, maybe going into the next season. But it leaves us with, if everything is tied up really nicely, even with Martin, you see him coming out there, Dad, you want to go?
I wouldn't go with really nicely, but like nicely enough.
But nicely.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the name of the show is The Affair. So then where do we go from here? And that's the part that I'm very interested in because we knew in the previous 2 seasons where it was going, right? We knew exactly where the season ended, and it was like, okay, next season's going to be here, right? With this season, it leaves us, yes, it ties a lot of ends. There's still a couple of loose ends, but nothing that is warranting like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, right? So it's like, where then do you go in this dramatic series that is hinged on 2 people having an affair?
Because it's all the repercussions of it all, though. So right, it's all the fact that, I mean, beyond the fact that it doesn't necessarily have to do with a sexual affair, it can just be any kind of an affair that happens. It's also just the endless amounts, the trails that have been left behind, and where it sort of lands all these different characters going forward, right? So sort of the arc that Noah has taken and continues to take is something that they can continue to sort of write on and whatever. Obviously Helen, we're in a totally new place with Helen because now she's become very honest in where her life is at and what she's done and how she's had to cope with that and how that sort of changes her relationship with the doctor. And so, like, we don't know what's going to happen between them. We certainly don't know what's going to happen between Cole and Allison because that seems like a very perplexing and who knows what kind of situation they're in.
Yeah, you could.
So,
Yeah, you
I mean, there's many things that are not just lying dormant.
Yeah.
No, I mean, these are great writers. They're gonna find there's enough characters and enough situations. I mean, you could even now Noah wants to get Helen back because he wants his family back, and now there's a feud with him and the dog. Hold on, hey, don't hate.
I mean, clearly,
I think that April put it
I'm just
nicely,
saying.
though. April said that we were kind of spoiled the last 2 seasons with all these huge cliffhangers.
We were definitely spoiled.
And so we want it, but
Yeah.
also you have to kind of recognize that other series, other shows we've watched and stuff, they give us this too. It's sometimes you need the cliffhanger, but you also need resolution, and then cliffhanger, kind of in a sense too, to like
it does.
really,
You're
I don't know,
correct.
Well,
be okay with these characters and what's happening.
Right.
And
this season kind of showed us, just like you just said, the repercussions of what happens when you do these terrible things. You have really bad problems with your kids. Maybe somebody gets murdered. There's a lot of
Maybe
stuff.
2. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe 2. I don't know.
one person goes to jail.
Yes, no big deal. A lot of stuff happens as repercussions from this, and it's kind of like, it really is, to me, it's kind of like the ultimate cliffhanger, like literally where does this go? We have no idea. I don't think they put, and y'all are going to kill me for saying this, and other people are going to kill me for saying this, I know, but they didn't put that little voice of Allison when he sees the Peter Pan book in there for nothing. They're not going to put that one little glimmer of, oh, you know this?
So
oh,
you
yeah,
think
I used to
there's
tell my
hope.
kids about it all the time. They do nothing without a purpose.
Yeah, wow.
But, so I'm saying, this show, now that it's left us at this, literally him sitting in the cab, like, I have no place to go. Where do I go? Now,
Where will he go?
Maybe
he'll show up at Allison's house.
It's a total, like, okay, what happens now?
Okay, wait. I have a question.
Yeah.
Since
It's
you
true.
brought
He might
that
show up at Allison's
Since you
house.
brought that
Okay,
up,
okay.
do you think?
That is your cliffhanger.
Do you think?
There it is.
Given the nature of the show and the direction that we see that it's gone and maybe going in the next season, do you think that he would ever possibly end up with Allison again?
I think it's not improbable, just in the sense that there is no question they still have a lot of love between them. It's just a very, very crapola situation in the sense of everything with the child. How do they get back there?
No, I'm saying like
he has to keep sneaking in her door and hiding from Cole. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't see that love anymore. I see that's all faded. I don't see that there's any type of chemistry.
Well, they were by that
anymore.
campfire together.
Was,
I still saw it.
My favorite scene of the entire season.
No,
literally
it
my
felt
favorite
like
scene
for
of the
me,
entire
it felt
season.
like for her that she was just amusing him in a sense.
Really?
She was just amusing him, wanted what she wanted. I know you're such like pro that. I think that he's gonna either end up alone at the end of all of this, that this affair has landed him alone somewhere, or he's getting back with Helen.
Ooh, interesting. Okay,
Oh,
Nadine
you like
is,
Nadine?
Nadine
You like
is
Nadine?
dropping some serious predictions. Okay.
I'm gonna go total antithesis.
I just want Lem to love me.
Complete opposite. Totally. I think whenever Noah and Helen hooked up last week or whatever week it was, I think that was like
One and done.
That's it.
I think that was like, this is clearly
not
the
right.
worst thing
because of how it went
ever.
down.
It could
And I
be.
think it would, but in both versions. And you know, people in comments were talking about how, you know, it seemed like rape, whatever, but then in Helen's version it didn't. I didn't think that it did. It was absolutely like forceful. Well, in his version it was more forceful than it was hers. It was very like consensual. Hers it was very loving, but in his
It was consensual,
like,
aggressive sex.
aggressive, for
Yeah.
sure. But I think that was like it. I think it was kind of like, oh, I'm getting these frustrations out, and she kind of realized, even by the things that her kids said to her, like, how could you let him back in the house?
Right.
How could you? I think that was it for them. Now, I don't know. I go back to the fireplace scene because I think about the connection, and I think about why has he only told Alison about this over the woman that he was married to for 20 years. And I think even in tonight's episode, the moment with Whitney is very telling in the sense where he was like, you want a man who's going to, or when you have a man that truly loves you, he protects you, he supports you, he does this. And she was like, so you didn't ever really love mom? And he clearly does. He doesn't say, he says I loved her, but then he's like, kind of concedes to it. And I think that was him telling her, like, okay, I was with this person because of, we had a baby, and then we had more babies, and that was kind of it. I think that was his version of telling her, like, I'm in this situation where I didn't necessarily truly love someone. Because that's what she was talking about. She was talking about true love. And he says he loved Helen, but did he truly love her? I think he flat out told us tonight that he didn't.
How do we feel about what, I'm so sorry if I'm saying this wrong, Ngozi Onima just said, the Peter Pan book quote scene could be also related to Noah's growth in this episode. So perhaps like they're using that as sort of a symbol of like that sort of part of his life closing too,
Peter Pan?
perhaps.
Right.
Maybe.
Well,
I think he was just.
yes.
I think he was
Right?
just
As being
thinking
lost
about
child.
it.
Yes.
I think he was thinking about it, and just me personally, I think he was thinking about it. It's in his mind. There's a reason why it's still in his mind.
Yeah, but you're right. The fact that Allison's voice popped in his head, but maybe I think more so what I'm saying is maybe it's a one-way love with him. I just don't think Allison's there anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think that if she really was, Allison always goes off the deep end. Allison always does what's not conventional in a sense.
Yeah, but she's
and
like,
if she wanted Noah again, she would have Noah and still try to have her child at the same time.
I don't,
But they've been through
I
too
don't
much
know. Yeah,
to
I
just
think
easily have it.
right.
It wouldn't be easy, but she would still try. Girl's not trying right now. There's been no trial on her part.
Because she's only
She's
trying to get her
traumatized.
daughter
Daughter.
back.
But now
Yeah.
she has her daughter back down there. We haven't seen
just
any
got
of
it.
her.
Yeah. She's too
just got her
nervous.
back.
Yeah, she's like, I need to tread very.
But she was already
very
trying to get
carefully.
another job, which was 5 hours away from Cole, and already messed that up. So why mess that up and not mess stuff up with Noah?
See, because I don't actually, I
You
was
know,
on her
like-
side for that completely.
So-
I didn't think that job was going to mess anything up, so that was like, I was actually upset with Cole for even,
Well,
whether or not he actually said that or not, we don't know.
It depends
4
on
to
what
5 hours
side
away.
you look at, though. It depends on whose side you look at. Both versions were different. Of
Right,
if
that's
the
what I
job
mean.
was really
So
going to be intense or not.
Perhaps he never really said it. I don't know.
Well, we need to wrap up.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess.
We're going to keep talking for hours.
I could, literally. Thank y'all so much for joining us in chat. Definitely want to hear what
do you
y'all
think is
had to
gonna
say, what your predictions are for season 4.
Yeah.
You can find us all at AfterBuzz TV. Be sure to watch on YouTube, download on SoundCloud, like us, rate us. We want to hear what you thought. You can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me at The Poet Saint all day, every day. And I'm Lem Gonsalves, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean. Thanks so much for watching with us all season.
Yeah, and Nadine Della Pelle here for the last time for The Affair Season 3 signing out. You can find me at Nadine DP and the number 3.
See y'all for season 4.
Oh!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.